Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you joining us today in this panel discussion on aligning learning and development with business strategy that is driving the measurable results. I'm Kiran Sharma, and I'll be your host today for this insightful session. Thank you for taking the time to join us as we explore how organizations today can move beyond training for training's sake and truly link learning initiative with strategic business outcomes. So, as we all know that in today's fast evolving business landscape where agility and performance are key, learning and development has become more than just a support function. It's a strategic enabler of growth. Organizations that successfully align their learning goals with their business strategy don't just build skills, they build a competitive advantage. As businesses face constant disruption from digital transformation to hybrid work and changing workforce expectations, L&D leaders are under increasing pressure to prove impact. I'm sure all our speakers and panelists will agree to this. The question is no longer what training programs are we running, but how are these initiatives moving the business forward? Whether it is improving productivity, driving innovation, enhancing customer experience, or building leadership pipelines, L&D must now speak the language of business outcomes. That's exactly what our experts today will help us explore. How to align learning initiatives with business strategy, ensure measurable impact, and make L&D a true strategic partner. So, guys, allow me to introduce our panelists. I'll be first introducing our mentor, our moderator. So, to lead today's organization, we are joined by an inspiring professional, Miss Anita Pinto. Anita is a life and mindset coach, OD and L&D strategist, and passionate advocate for women's empowerment. With over 20 years of global experience across human resources, L&D, and OD, she has led impactful talent and leadership journeys in organizations like India.com, News Corporation, Cisco. A certified coach and OD practitioner, Anita brings a wealth of experience in unlocking human potential, transforming workplace cultures, and helping individuals lead purposeful, authentic lives. We are delighted to have you moderating today's discussion, Anita. Everyone, please join me in welcoming her. Welcome, Anita.
Thank you, Kiran, and thank you, everyone. I'm really looking forward for this inspiring panel discussion. Thank you.
Okay, so joining Anita on this panel are two highly accomplished professionals from the world of learning and development. Our first speaker is Miss Saritha Tellapudi. Saritha, please do correct me if I pronounced your name incorrectly, and I'm extremely sorry at the outset itself if my pronunciation.
It's right. Tellapudi. Yeah.
She is the Assistant Manager for Learning and Development at Sify Technologies. Saritha brings over 20 years of experience combining deep expertise in L&D strategy, program management, and e-learning development. Her background spans technology-enabled learning, vendor management, and training operations, and she is widely known for analytical approach, effective communication, and her passion for designing impactful learning experiences. Welcome, Saritha. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Saritha.
Thank you. Thank you. Same here. Looking forward.
Yeah. Our second speaker is Mr. Mohit Joshi, who leads learning and development at Grihum Housing Finance. With over 15 years of experience in L&D and talent management, Mohit specializes in innovative training solutions, including case-based and hybrid models to equip teams with future-ready skills. He has previously driven impactful learning initiatives at Bajaj Allianz and Tata AIG and is recognized for his collaborative and results-driven approach in aligning L&D with organizations. Welcome, Mohit. It's really great to have you here. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Mohit.
Thank you, Kiran, and it's my pleasure to be part of this lovely panelist. Thank you very much.
Same here. So, friends, with such a great lineup of panel members, I'm sure we are in for an insightful and engaging session ahead. With that, I would now like to hand it over to our moderator, Ms. Sanita Pinto, who will guide us through the discussion and engage our esteemed panelists in what promises to be an enriching conversation. Over to you, Anita.
Thank you, Kiran, and thank you, Mohit and Saritha, to joining in today. I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say that we are really waiting to listen to the inputs that's going to be shared in the panel today. Without much ado, I would like to start off with the first statement that begins. Let's begin with the foundation, that's alignment. We often hear L&D should be aligned with to business strategy, but what does that really mean in day-to-day decision making? How do we ensure uh, learning doesn't sit in isolation but becomes a lever for performance and growth? Okay, Saritha, from your experience, how can L&D leaders ensure that training programs are directly aligned with organization strategy and priorities?
Hi, Anita.
Right.
Hi. So, we have to align closely with the business teams and not just run training programs. It starts with understanding how the company wants to achieve and what are the business goals and how they want to go digital or improving operations, or it is just talent retention. Yeah. And we need to talk to leaders to find out skills that they need and create training that supports their goals. For example, if innovation is the priority, we need to focus on like design thinking and how they will work, the agile way of working. Yeah. And we also have to not just align, we have to track on what are the new skills and how it affects the performance. And finally, regular feedbacks is the key to all the, how it is relevant or useful. In the end, learning should just not be delivering, but help business grow not just in one line, but in all 360 degrees in behavioral aspect or technical aspect, in what is the future need, upskill and cross skill. So you have to be ahead of all.
Okay, thank you for those. See, Mohit, alignment often requires buy-in from leaders. What are
Yes.
some of the practical ways to engage business leaders and gain their buy-ins for learning initiatives?
Well, I think it's a very relevant question now for all the L&D professionals, because somehow, somewhere, we all have seen that the time has changed where the training reports or completion reports or feedback forms and assessments can actually bind your leaders to be part of your journey. The first thing I think which I felt and which even we practice in our organization as well, that obviously first the buy-in from the business leaders is very important. And for that, you need to speak their language. As I think already Saritha has mentioned the point, Kiran also has mentioned the same thing, because now gone are the days when you are asking about that we have completed the program, that many people have attended my session. That will not work. So ultimately, that speaking their language, their requirement, how we can enable the growth function of their particular vertical, whether it may be sales or any other function, non-sales functions also. So now L&D doesn't work like an HR activity, I can say. More or less, the word development is very important here. So when you talk to them and involve them in a very early stage of the development of the program. Earlier, it used to happen that people used to create the program, get it approved from the specific leaders, and then the program has to be run in that particular vertical or department. Now the situation is reversed. So we need to ask, we need to assign, we need to check with the desired outcome which they require. And accordingly, we need to prepare the overall program statement like that. So that one more thing which is very important now, because nobody has time. Now, if we see the span of people, earlier we used to have a span of 21 minutes as a specific thing which used to say, now it reduces to 30 seconds with a bite-sized learning and all these terminologies and gimmick, I can say. So I am not saying as a gimmick, but ultimately these are the way which we are using it. So one more thing, the data, the quick observations, the change which you are maintaining, the buy-in of those resources, as well as make them the leader of your overall program. That actually can help you to create first the mind, and second, obviously, the effectiveness of the program also can be measured quickly, as well as the results can actually be in a better way because your leaders are also aligned with your whatever thought process you have built in while preparing a program. That's my view. Only I can say last that keep the conversation alive. I think that is very much required in this overall important factor because somehow somewhere that bridge usually requires where L&D as a group supports the skill development part as well as the requirement which has been raised, and you have involved them also while preparing the program and the execution of it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Mohit and Saritha. These are some of the some really thoughtful insight from strategic alignment to stakeholder engagement. How you ensure your business goals are understood properly. And I love what Mohit brought up, saying that development is the focus. Totally in alignment with you all. And what I also want to talk about a little bit on the how to balance short-term and business needs and long-term capabilities through LAD. Balancing short-term and business needs with long-term capability building also entails dynamic L&D frameworks that prioritizes both immediate skill gaps as well as future skill gaps. Agile planning with ongoing stakeholder communication helps us pivot focus as needed, while integrating technology, holistic metric support both horizons. Learning journeys that serve immediate roles yet build sustainable career growth. I think that should be the focus. Yeah. So now that we have explored why and how of alignment, let's move on to the next big question. How do we actually know it's working? Let's talk about measuring impact and ROI. Okay. L&D leaders today are under growing pressure to demonstrate tangible business results. The new thing we also, other than ROI, we also have return on expectation, new term coming in. Okay. Gone are the days when completion rate, satisfaction scores were enough. The business now wants proof of performance, productivity impact, and also indirectly business needs to have an impact. Okay. So with that, I also gets me to the Mohit. What frameworks or models have you found most effective in measuring ROI of L&D? Over to you.
Very tricky question, I can say, because somehow, somewhere, more or less L&D functions are facing this particular problem every time whenever you're going to a business leader or any stakeholder whom you have to pitch in and you have to inform about that now this is a new training program which we are launching or something, whatever, even for the old programs as well. So the first thing already you have mentioned that word why, because before saying how, and why it is important. So more or less for any program to get successful, obviously the ROI has to be mentioned and measured on a very first day. You have to make the desired outcome first. And then obviously there are different steps, there are different methodologies. First is I'll again introduce a new word which is implementation. Because teaching, training, then again the if you have informed the proper information, people have that skill set now developed, so people are not interested in that. They just see how their team is implementing that. So how we are measuring that, that is one thing which I feel is very important. Second thing is, so obviously there is a structured model. We all know that track metric model is one of the structured model for any kind of training ROI to be set. And if you see, Jack Phillip has added one more step to it, which is the level 4 step of ROI in that. So instead of saying, as already I think Anita, you have mentioned that particular point, instead of saying that 200 employees have converted in the program, we can say 10% of the resources actually implemented that process, and that is the result. So that proven result can actually help us build the program in a different way, or obviously, every time that program will succeed, that's not a case. We all know that. And sometimes we also learn, we can implement change, and that's the ongoing process of for all the L&D professionals and processes. So one thing which I feel and that framework is very much required. Then whenever we are creating any program from the start, we need to check with the desired results. We only can develop on skills. So if the skills has been measured, and act upon and implemented, then what's the result? If the results are there, let's say you have achieved 60% of what you have desired, then you need to work on that 40%. And obviously, there will be a tweak in the program. And again, the buy-in has to be come from the leaders itself that, okay, I am okay with 60% result or whether it could be yes or no, but at least we should show that how much efforts the team has met and what's the change which has happened to their team. Who's that? I think the ROE is one thing which is very much required. Now, as already we mentioned that gone are the days when you are mentioning the feedback forms and assessments. Now it is all about how their team has responded to the training and how they are actually dealing with the outcome of the program. Thanks. I think that is what my answer is.
Thank you, Mohit. Saritha, many organizations still tracking metrics like completion rate, and I think Mohit called out it's no more is enough. How can L&D teams move from tracking completion rates to measuring real behavior and performance outcomes?
So, as Mohit pointed out, we have a lot of metrics that are in place for auto-triggered from the LMS, from L1, L2, and L3 feedbacks. They are all required to be in place because over the period of time, you cannot still remember or remember a conversation on the phone or as discussed, a mail or something. End of the day, these metrics are required for a long-term tracking. So it also depends on the skills that they require, and accordingly, on-the-job checks is very important. There is a request that comes in, and we deliver the what is required in the program or training and everything. But end of the day, a quick check on the job, and then 360-degree review is very important, either on their behavior or on performance. Both are required. If they are good at performance and they're not good at the behavior, it doesn't go well. But then equally, it's important for us. So metrics also goes equally important in tracking L1, L2, L3. And also equally, it is important to have a quick check. If you have a 3-month training or a 6-month training, intermediate feedback is very important to track and understand where it is going. More than what they give feedback on a tracker, a quick check with the manager is more important, or his reporting manager. That makes a lot of impact on what the alignment that we are looking for.
Thanks for sharing interesting point. Both of you are brilliant. We talked about measuring the measuring that what matters, which is like what measurement is being transformed by something much bigger, data and technology. I think you both spoke about it. What I liked about Mohin highlighted the factors implemented is very important. Important to have start with the desired results and also show the business proven results instead of only numbers, percentage, what's the impact it had. And Saritha, from you, it's important to track skills required, 360 review, don't only track performance, also behavior. And metrics are very important part of it, which also talks about some of the challenges in linking learning impact to business performance is include, sometimes isolating training effects amidst of many influencing factors, fragmented data, sometimes resilience and outdated measuring methods. Overcoming these also requires rigorous data collection, uh, you know, uh, educating our leaders, stakeholders, the importance of it, use of control groups, sometimes also trying to see trend analysis, the strong analytics that connect learning activities to the business KPI is very important. So having said that, let's explore how analytics and AI are reshaping the way we design, measure, and even personalize learning experience. Okay, so now we are moving into the next segment, that is data analytics technology in L&D. Okay, in the digital era, L&D has access to more data than ever before. We have learning engagement, skill proficiency, behavioral patterns, but the key is turning the data into insight and insight into action. Okay, Mohit, how can L&D leverage data and analytics to demonstrate learning effectiveness, make better decisions?
It's a very relevant questions nowadays because if you see now we have moved from traditional way of classroom trainings to LMS based, Electri based, and we have video learning platforms, and then we have inspirational learning, and then you'll find different set of training programs which are being developed, and bite-sized learning is one of the formats. So when we say again data and analysis, why analytics of that particular information is important because somewhere we need to see the pattern of learning first, how the person is responding to the information which we have provided, whether they are getting engaged first. Obviously, the first level of excitement will come when the person is engaged in the program. Second level of data actually is very much required in this particular case because when we elaborate the processes and obviously when we're developing a structured program, how effectively the people are accepting that program, that also is very much required while while discussing about the overall aspect of this learning. Data obviously will create an impact on your future development of the program. Analytics could be in all the ways. First, whether the acceptance is there, whether the implementation has happened for the program or not, whether people have learned. Then obviously, I'm not saying the assessment is not a way of getting the analysis of it, but yes, analysis has to be done by the assessment as well, and this will prove us. So for the future development of any kind of observation, like let's say if you have created a program on attrition, and after completion of 3 months, 4 months, and we found that 8% attrition is lower down, that itself signifies that okay, your program is worked. And let's say you desired for 10% and it reached to 6% also. Still, you have a scope of 4% to improve. So that is how the data will actually work. Or if for a productivity, we can say, because majorly if you see 80% of the programs are building up for the productivity index or productivity vintage. So majorly if the vintage has worked or your new employee productivity improves or they are earning incentive post your program, they are learning and implementing that. So that data is the key for us, and I think more or less that will be only key to have the overall decision of your spokes and your leaders to give up the heads up for the next program and to continue the program for in a bigger way. That one thing which I even we demonstrate as well here in my current organization, and I feel this is very important. So all these three things has to be leveraged in a better way, and we, as I think even Saritha was mentioning about that, that you should have a proper information about the program, which can be elaborated and informed to the leaders. So next time, whenever you are discussing with them about any kind of requirement, at least they'll have the heads up with that and they are aligned to that. Obviously, data will speak about that, and nothing else can be spoken in that. In all the pre and post and all the implementation, you would require all three aspects of it. And decision making will be influenced by your data and your observations which you would have put in. Thanks.
Thanks. Some of the great points you covered. I like the pattern of learning from engagement, how to achieve the effectiveness of the program, how data is important, how data and analytics demonstrate learning effectiveness by engaging with patterns, skill gap closure, performance improvement. I think it could be descriptive or diagnostic or predictive, prescriptive. End of it, these analytics guide L&D to take decisions and forecast and recommend tailored intervention to the business. Okay, which also brings me to the next segment, that AI and digital tools, how are they reshaping to measure personalized learning experiences? What I have seen is AI digital tools reshape learning in hyper personalized, and everybody talking about it, and hyper personalized experience. Using today, we have a lot of tools available, algorithm, especially the adaptive algorithm, predictive analytics, multimodal delivery, all of these. And then we also can map them to individual learner profiles, their motivation, even to the emotional intelligence. I think we have gone long way. This also helps to, leads to more engaged, targeted, and scalable solutions across. Okay. Having said that, uh, The next question over to you, Saritha. How can L&D professional build data literacy and analytical capabilities within their own teams? We talk about business, but within their own teams, how do we build that?
As rightly said, the data is the key as of now, and to build those data skills in L&D, the basic we need to know the basic teachings on how to read a learning data and spot the patterns and connect them to the business results. And we have to enable the team with the right tools like Power BI, Snowflakes, and AI without compromising the data going online. That is the latest trend right now. And the old pattern of how using, we have to encourage people to use dashboards using Power BI, how you can automate it faster, because when you are reviewing the data and working with the teams, the churning of the data to get the results, the time it takes has to be less. Irony is some of the companies, they have different platforms right now. If you have, you'll have different CRM, you have different LMS, LXPs, HRM, and there is an analytical team which is on always churning out this data to which we is more useful for the team to analyze and use. Though the time goes in just churning from different platforms, which has to be reduced. The best way is to have the reports which are more using Power BI after the churning. One is having the best of all these tools in one platform is not possible. We have tried it all. Um, then otherwise you have to compromise on the tools if you have to have everything aligned in one. Otherwise, you need to have data that can be uploaded, and then you have to have everything automated. So the result has to come really fast, that you can dot out the what the business results that is required, and accordingly you have to show the patterns in that and show the outcome. That is very important.
Okay, thank you, Sarita. What you highlighted is spot the patterns, enable them to get business results. Also, automation is key. If not, easiest thing is, instead of relying on a complex system, at least use Power BI. Thank you for that. So we'll learn a couple of things from data-driven insight to AI-enabled personalization. Let's zoom out and look ahead a little bit. The pace change isn't slowing down at all. It's much more faster now. So what does a future-ready L&D function look like? So that moves us to the next segment, future-ready L&D for growth and innovation. Okay, the future of work is being rewritten every year with new technologies, new skills, new employee expectation, new business expectations. We also have governments playing their own roles as well with a lot of policy changes. So L&D sits right at the center, preparing organization in this today's, you call Barney world, the VUCA world, not just to survive, but to thrive in the future. So we all have a key place to play. So Saritha, this question goes to you. What competencies should L&D develop to prepare organizations for future disruptions and innovations?
There are that what keeps them ready for the future changes is L&D should have people build skills which are very flexible and which are more digital tools and thinking in new ways and solving problems immediately. And for us, time is the key. So it's important to stay updated, watch the trends, and keep improving our programs to meet our new needs. That can be done only when you have constant touch with the industry leaders, with the business units or business leaders who are in with the clients, connecting with the clients to know what is the immediate need in the system. So you have to have program ready for the technology and the solutions, and you should not waste the time to give those solutions to them. It should be a equal driven from both ends.
Okay, so some of the key points you mentioned are basically, skill-based organization. Time is very key. So important to watch out for trends, align with the business, and ensure you have programs catering their in-time needs, kind of a thing. Okay, which also talks about, system thinking, agility. Also, I think in your initially you mentioned design thinking. Also, leadership mindset as well as L&D mindset is very crucial. um, Culture plays a massive role in transformation. So, Mohit, how can L&D foster a continuous learning culture that supports agility and adaptability?
That's a beautiful question, actually. I feel that this is one of the key element of any of the L&D professional who are working there. And obviously, organization also expect that the team can do this. So for me, I think when we say L&D and we use a word culture, so one thing which every time I follow is L&D is not only about taking initiatives. It is about the mindset shift for the employee, for the people, those who are working, those who are there in the company. So whenever you are designing a program, whenever you are creating certain things, obviously the first thing it should give to the people, those who are attending, they should feel a safe environment. Obviously, one thing is that, and that itself will create the culture. One more thing for this, we need to have a top-down approach. We cannot give a bottom-up approach for this. So when your leader is learning, let's say some of the leader can come and express that, okay, I have this particular gap and I have fulfilled with this learning this activity. That actually will automatically will motivate people. And this culture will take time. People do need to have that continuous learning experience. They should feel safe. They should feel that whenever they are doing certain experiments with the learning, they are getting the results, whether results are impacting or not, but at least they are having this chance that they are making some new things, they are able to learn some new skills and processes that automatically will create the culture. For that, one more thing which is very much required is that people should feel that, okay, if I did any mistake while doing this activity, no, people will not question me. They will just give me an kind of an experience which I would have done for any kind of new thing which you are learning. Obviously, there could be a chance of failure as well. If your manager, your leaders are supporting you, that's okay. You can go carry on, and that's how the learning culture has to be built up. So obviously, safe environment, your leaders top-down approach, and that automatically will create the culture of learning in the organization. Obviously, for a long term, it is very much required. Initially, if you see for a small, particular goal-oriented learnings, you can have the training culture, and then obviously for a build-up of an overall L&D culture in the organization, people should see that, okay, this is not a classroom program which I am attending. This is something which actually helps me to build my own skill set, which can actually where I'm having the safest of the mode where I can even express my doubts, my problem areas with anyone, and people are there to care for me. When that employee feels this kind of environment, automatically the culture develops, and that comes from the leaders and can go up to the last mile of the organization.
Yeah. Thanks, Mohit. I think you brought out nice, summarized as well. Top-down approach is very important. You cannot expect only bottom line to have the organization. People look at the leaders and follow. And feel safe. Psychological safety is important in the organization if you want to build innovation and learning culture. And again, you emphasize it's a journey. It's not like piecemeal. It's like start with goals, but over a period of people have to look at building skills for current and the future roles as well. So emerging L&D, culture is involves what I hear from is embedding learning in their everyday workflows, encouraging experimentation, giving them feedback, visibly endorsing by the leadership with the engagement that supports, agility and adaptability and quick learning in a rapid change in the organizations. Because if you look at a top organization, they always prioritize continuous learning culture. Uh, with innovation challenges, leadership modeling behaviors. I think we know about companies like Google, Meta, they follow those patterns. On data also shows from some of the organizations with structured learning cultures, innovation is 92% more effectively, making learning as a core element of the organization, just the other than a HR afterthought. So when it's learning is center of the organization focus, there is also innovation built in the organization as well. Uh, some of the great. So I also wanted to highlight on what defines next generation L&D strategies for business growth. I think some of the emerging trends are we spoke about earlier: AI for personalized learning, data analytics for measuring the impact, strong skill-based organizations are coming in this thing ecosystem, stronger role-based learning in the flow of working, because people may not go through this. So while I'm working, I face a problem. Can I just have a quickly check and learn and apply? Integrating social and experiential learning to drive engagement innovation. So all of these coming key to both for employee engagement, also it's practical and strategic in nature for help uh, you know thinking in L&D alignment with business strategy. Okay, and uh, also wanted to we I think discussed great points. I think we know that learning is important with the entire discussion, and we have to be strategically aligned. So and I also want to call out some of the new things people are talking about. Having said that, what is the future is also emphasis on human and social skills. There's a growing emphasis. People here, AI coming in, we are going to replace, but what cannot replace is your social, emotion, and cognitive skills, which are projected to growth around 26% competence in each by 2030, which means that L&D initiatives has to be focusing on teamwork, communication, creativity, emotional intelligence, with it could be experiential reflective exercise, so that we build competency for the next future as well. We also have diversity and inclusion. People talk about it, and whatever program we design, ensure we have different generations as well. Everybody feels inclusive. There's a diverse content, unconscious bias training across, because that's the biggest thing we hear. They are Gen Zs, we are Gen Y, they are millennials. So I think it's not about labeling them. How do we cohesively, end of it, we all are humans, how do we cohesively work? Uh, Ongoing support to have an inclusive culture where people feel psychological safety is there. There is a improved decision making. That also improves performance of the organization as well. Okay. So thank you, Mohit and Saritha, for great points. You have covered a lot of grounds, from aligning learning business goals to measuring impact, leveraging data, and also we touched upon a little bit on preparing for future. What stood out for me is alignments begins with understanding the business deeply, also aligning with the stakeholders. Measuring is important, not only behavior for performance, but not just for attendance. We also measure behavior performance as well. Data is a key for building learning credibility. Mohit, you called out how do we present data to the business. And future readiness means agility, innovation, and culture that never stops learning. So learning is continuous. How do we imbibe that with our organization, and it's a very important. And thank you for joining us. We'll open up for questions. Participants, if you have any questions, we could take that now. You can put in the chat box, or you can unmute and ask us the questions. No question, then we'll ask you all questions. Anybody would like to share what is that we all are doing in your organization, so that we also can learn from you what's worked for you, especially in building learning culture, or in terms of how do you measure training impact? How do you use data? Anyone has any questions? Anything that you've read recently, also trending that is interesting for all of us to know?
You can also give us suggestions. Okay, I think we do have a question.
Okay.
Mr. Manoj Kumar from Chola, Chief Manager HR, is asking how to increase LMS adoption.
Who wants to take?
Okay, I'll take this. So I think again I'll start with that this is one of the challenges for all the L&D professionals because I know people are changing because people are now adopting the scenario situations where LMS, LXIs are one of the in thing. Now, in fact, the LMS or I can say even in the old process and methodology, now the bite-sized learnings are which I feel is the in thing now because if you remember, we discussed that the 21-minute span has now reduced to 30-second of minute of span of concentration from people. But still, I would say that Manoj, this is very, very typical. So very, very critical. So when adoption is required, obviously now instead of pushing, we should brand the particular program in a way that the buying should come from the people. The pull factor should come first when you are branding that program in a way that how that program will benefit them, automatically the buying will come and the people will start adopting the program. Yes, the ease of LMS is second thing which is very much required, that how easily and effectively that LMS is operating, whether it is benefit, whether it is easy, supportive, people are able to engage themselves in the program. The content has to be so engaging, so important, so we can say relevant with the topic which whatever topic you want to explain to them has to be very smart. We say that smart approach has to be approach, or it should be very crisp to the point, giving that information to the people so that people feel that okay, this is important for me. And that's the way which I feel that pull factor has to be come in this LMS adoption rather than pushing people to just go and complete the activity, because that doesn't actually allow. Let's say even I have given a Netflix to you and you don't have wish to go and watch a movie, you're not gonna watch. But if I'll brand that particular movie in a way that you can go and watch in that particular movie for any of that particular program, any of the platform, the same thing can go with LMS. And that's the approach, I suppose. And I think if Sarita, Anita, and Kiran, they want
Yeah,
to
I
add
just
anything, they
want
also.
to add on that is one is definitely it has to be part of their KRA KPI. And the second is that the right tools, as Mohit said, people, most of them travel 2 hours and on to reach their home. And if your LMS is available on the mobile and for them, because when they are at office, it's very difficult for them to spend that time during the office hours. But while traveling, it's also easy to learn. In fact, a lot of books are in audio, and which actually helps them to listen to while traveling instead of spending all the time on Netflix. That also helps them to spend some time efficiently during travel.
Yeah, great point. And just to add on so a couple of things, I think the magic wand is with the leaders. If leaders can model that behavior, saying that he also post updates, recognizing achievements like the top learner or could certified, whatever that, there's a recognition part of it. Also, managers to integrate LMS in their learning. The other piece is also, now what we are, I had done in my previous organization, integrating into the daily workflow. It could be integrated to your Microsoft Teams, or I think recently some organization saw integrating into Outlook itself. So then, they can use, learning apps when they really need it. Also, there are an automated learning paths. And also, I think Saritha brought out a point, ensure that it's tied to the HR or performance system. That's another piece. And encourage employees to use during the onboarding. Everybody want all the learning is there. So encourage during promotion, before the promotion readiness, You can have modules and ensure that they complete it. Your compliance cycles. So these are the couple of things you can ensure that, and share the success data. Which team is doing better than learning? Who's a top learner? That also giving them badges, incentives, also sometimes tangible rewards. If you go through this, have another course, probably premier course given to the top learner or something. And everybody likes social recognition. Probably LinkedIn put up learner, top organization learner award or something. So I think these are incentives could nudge for better learner adoption, learning adoption. Thank you, Manoj. I hope you got the answers. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone
And
else?
whatever Anita has just said, it takes me back to one of the discussions that we had in the past about implementing e-learning, going beyond the rewards and badges. So that was one of our. I mean, maybe if people would love to, if you all would also like to go, and I mean, it's there on YouTube channel, EduRAM's YouTube channel. Maybe you all can go and see it. It was really a wonderful discussion as well. Okay, so audience, any further questions anyone would like to ask?
Thank you, Vikram. Vikram, you also can ask questions.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, he has a question. Anita, would you like to read it out and invite any of our students?
Yeah. How can we translate skill development or behavioral change into tangible business value? For example, in terms of reduced churn, faster project delivery, or improved sales performance. Who wants? Anybody can.
Okay. So again, all these questions are very relevant. So every time, whenever you go to any leader for a new program or new development or any kind of new insight, you'll find these. This is the one question which every time you'll also face. We all have to face and give the answer to that. Only thing which I feel is that obviously tangible business value, directly, indirectly, we cannot say that L&D can be responsible for it. But in again, to give the answer to Vikram, I would say that more or less, when you design the program, the desired outcome has to be start in the very start of the discussion. Obviously, the churning, fast project delivery, if everything is planned, if you feel that somewhere you need the development is the skill is the issue, and you are helping people to develop that particular skill, just like Saritha was mentioning about AI. Now, AI is one of the hindrance as well. I can say it's an opportunity as well for both. So let's say somebody has learned that tool, automatically the development will support the people to do the process or the particular program in a faster way. Similar kind of thing can be checked and changed while the project and the programs are running. Obviously, reducing churn can be developed because one, I feel that productivity or the performance is actually inversely proportional to churning and attrition. So if your program or your learning or your training is making people productive and safe, and they feel that I'm getting recognized in the organization, automatically you will see the changes happening in the people, and churning can be reduced. We cannot have the direct correlation, but there's somehow somewhere the learning can help people and the manager or the leader to get some kind of reduction in the churning. Improved sales performance, obviously, that can be one of the tangible goal can be taken care when we are doing certain functional trainings for people. And again, so for that, I'm giving too much more jargon. And Anita will say every time whenever I speak about certain jargon. So I have one jargon for this, which is skill and will, obviously. So if you have certain skill gaps, if you are developing that gap in the people, the performance can improve. And if it is related to will, obviously, then It's a behavioral aspect of learning and behavioral gap, which will take time for the people, or whether you cannot change that in a single training or one particular program, then the cultural shift is required for such particular set of people. But yes, Vikram, so there is a way where with the help of learning, with the help of behavioral change, with the help of training, we can do certain tangible business values to all these aspects, some in actual tangible way, some in the actual growth way, or we can say certain aspects. But we cannot make L&D accountable for it. But yes, for a longer, as you already mentioned, longer term impact, it would be there. Short term, it may not be. Bilkul correct. That's very correct on your part as well. Sorry, Saritha, if you have any point to add here, please.
Sure, I'd like to. Great points you covered. I think it starts whenever there is a program, it starts with the what is that business outcome or business result end goal. Then only you design the program. While you're doing it, you can also check with, what is the combined skills, behavior, and outcome metric, if it's possible. So basically, if it's a communication, how, through the communication, a customer, empathy, the sales team improved retention, reduced the churn by 10%. So you were able to measure it. Behavior also is covered. So one of the things you could do it. Also, you can say, because of analytics skills, and we are able to produce more forecast results, and which reduce stakeholder, stock by 8%, whatever sales, whatever they want, you can do it. But then you need to be very clear before designing of the program, how do we quantify that in not only tangible and intangible, because return of, I think I call it expectations. So some are non-tangible, we really can't put short term. At least the business can give you the data on whether, if it's improved or not, increased productive, not product delayed. Sometimes it may not be, but then as an expectation customer, they are on the ground, they'll be able to give you that data. Okay, I think there's one more. Vikram, you answer question. You got your answers? Okay, I think it's responded. Okay, there's another question from Siddharth. How can you measure on the job learning? So you want to take a stab at it? I can take a stab at it, or you want to, Saritha or Mohit?
I just want to add on to the previous question. Right now, customer connect is the key, that is the behavioral aspect, because most of the new people who come up from the campus, they're very, constrained from speaking, or they are not that, they're more digital. They're very good at speaking or typing on the messaging and everything, or Insta and all that. But when it comes to opening up and talking to the customer, or how the every project that they handle, they have to face themselves with the customer. So it has become the key for them to be very open, and how to handle customer has become the key. And each day by day, the AI is evolved so fast that even the solutions that we are providing, or the approach that we are giving on how to solve a solution, everything is aligned to AI, and the business has to align really fast. And for that, L&D is so in need right now to fulfill that factors. That is very important, because you have so many solutions, but how much it is aligned to the business, how much is affordable, and how much faster they can adapt is really important for the sales performance right now, behavioral and technical aspect.
Thank you, Sarita. I think how can you measure on the job learning? Siddharth has asked this question.
So on the job learning is definitely it's from the manager, who has to vouch for that person on how he is better, and how he is performed based on the goals that is set. Uh, that is very important, and that reflects on how his performance is. As Mohit had actually specified before, we can deliver it, and everything we can do, and as per the request. But end of the day, how it is accepted, how they are willing to adapt and how they are transforming also depends on what rewards they are also recognized, and that eventually also shows that how much of impact has come on the job based on the rewards they are given or the promotions they are given immediately as after the intervention and not later after years. That's the key. Within 6 months of the intervention, definitely there should be a reward through recognition or something which definitely shows on the job how much they have improved with that. Anything you want to add?
Mohit?
Yeah, so very relevant point. I think already Saritha has covered. I just want to highlight two, three things I just want to add, in fact. So when you say OJT or on the job, somebody has just joined the organization. I feel there are two issues usually organization faces. One is the teething issue, and second is the legacy issue. So when you bridge the gap of legacy and teething, automatically your OJT becomes a success. So let's say you have buddy, you have an experienced led who has already spent 2, 3 years, 4 years in the organization, and a new guy coming into the system, and you're burning up, shadowing up with the old guy with the new person. And as Saritha has mentioned, there should be some reward system for the person who is learning, obviously for them, and whosoever is contributing for their learning also should have certain rewards. And yes, there should be a milestone, there should be particular measures. You cannot measure day-to-day OJT programs, but there should be some weekly milestone can be adhered. It can be quantified, it can be qualified both the ways. But the very particular way which I feel is it should have a proper buddy shadowing system, and then the follow-up has to be given. And the buddy guy should also get the leverage and reward automatically. Then you can have a measure of success in your OJT. 100% nobody can assure, but at least when everyone feel accountable and they have this authority, automatically that program makes the success. I hope I'm able to give certain inputs to that. And Anita, if you want to add also, you can add.
Sure. I think I just want to build on top of what both of you have said. I think first of all, we need to be clear because you're measuring. We need to be clear and define what you're measuring on the job. It could be, is it technical skills? Again, you have technical, interpersonal leadership skills. So define that. Whether again, when we say on the job, it also means application to the real work. What does it mean? Is it a behavior change of uh, also can be on the job learning, performance improvement, results of the because of the learning, knowledge sharing with the team, or mentoring as you all called out. So all of these matters, but then some other metrics could, how do we track? The other question everybody will have it, okay, I understand. How do we combine all of these? Okay, one is your quantitative data, your based on, for example, software engineers, KPI could be speed, quality, error rate. For a salesperson could be before sales, after sales, before and after sales, after the learning they have gone through, that can be tracked. Quantitative could be, as you all rightly highlighted, the manager feedback could be, peer could be recognizing them. Yes, I know that this person has a thing. Project debriefs after post project, somebody could say, okay, this person has worked and this is a on the job experience. Okay. And especially with the freshers coming, and I think we always have the on the job learning as a line. So we could metric could be like after 3 months of project learning, 80% this intern has demonstrated able to improve project ownership. That's manager can rate it because that's not a this thing. Delivery time improved by 15%, which is we can measure it. So some other tools, because again, you could use simple learning journals or ask them to upload in the SharePoint, Excel, record, and also give the manager observation templates. Before and after skills assessment data is another point. Certification if they have completed. So performance dashboards, KPIs, whether they, yes, before then after these data will give you able to measure some indicators on measuring on the job learning. Okay, basically, if you fine tune, because you should know what you're measuring, then only you can measure it. Otherwise, it always this is not on the job. This is on the job. All this thing comes in. So that we any further questions? You got your answers? I think, thank you all for joining us. May we continue to make learning true business driver, not just a HR or L&D function. Thank you, all the participants, and Mohit and Saritha. Over to you, Kiran, and thank you, Ediram, for giving us an opportunity to share uh, knowledge. And I had fantastic panelists to take, share their knowledge as well. Over to you, Kiran.
Thank you, Anita. I'm sure this was as insightful and an enriching session for everyone as it was for me and everyone on the panel. So thank you so much. Thanks, Anita. Thanks, Saritha. Thanks, Mohit. This was really a rich and thought-provoking discussion. It was beautifully highlighted how aligning L&D with business strategy isn't just about designing the right programs. It's about building a complete culture of learning that directly contributes to the performance and results. And in fact, I'll definitely agree that all the questions were also really, really thought-provoking, and equally they added up to the discussion and to the topic that we were actually prodding on. So as organizations continue to evolve, it's really clear that the L&D's role will only grow in importance, not just as a function that supports growth, but also as a driver of transformation and measurable success. So I'll just take a minute on the note. I would like to thank our wonderful moderator, Ms. Anita Pinto, and our esteemed speakers, Saritha and Mohit, for sharing their valuable perspectives and experiences. And of course, a big thank you to all our participants for joining us today and engaging with this important conversation. We hope you are leaving with new insights, practical ideas, and inspiration to align your own learning strategies with your organization's goals. Thank you once again and have a wonderful day ahead till we meet again in the next month. Thank you, everyone. It was really nice having you all. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Mohit. Thank you, Sarita. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Kiran.
Bye. Bye.